So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 7 of our Alpine save. Now if you didn't go back and watch the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, go back and watch it because yes, I know Max Verstappen won by quite a distance, about 12 seconds in the end. Fernando Alonso did get a podium, but it was a fantastic race for us. We beat George Russell in the Mercedes, P8 and P9 for our two guys on wildly different strategies. Fantastic overtaking, one definitely to watch out for, that one on the series. But this weekend it sets us up to go to Monte Carlo, the Circuit de Monaco, the jewel in the crown of the F1 calendar. 78 laps round here. Obviously, the street circuit, the glitz, the glam, everything you expect and associate with Monaco. It's the one that every driver wants to win. Low and medium speed cornering, absolutely paramount around here. Expected strategy is a one-stop from soft onto hard or medium onto hard. Maybe you bolt on the hards and go along and wait for a safety car. There's always the chance of that happening as well. Not too much to tell you in terms of upgrades at this moment in time. We are developing an underfloor and a front wing, so that's something to look out for. But I'm going to get through practice and I'll see you for the most important qualifying of the season for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Now it's time to see who'll come out on top as qualifying gets underway.
Qualifying means everything around Monaco, with little chance of overtaking in the race. Getting as far up the grid as possible and keeping the car intact is every driver's goal on this unforgiving circuit.
Now Karun, you and I were actually just talking about that man there, Max Verstappen. How do you think he'll be feeling today?
They had an excellent performance in practice, setting a solid lap time. They must be feeling confident. But confidence doesn't necessarily mean success in Formula One.
Stay with us as we see who can deliver on motorsport's biggest stage.
Very important final few corners for Esteban Ocon. He's green through the first sector but yellow through the second. Is he going to manage to get into Q3 here? It's not looking particularly likely, but Esteban Ocon goes to cross the line and doesn't get into Q3. Disappointment for Esteban Ocon, who we were loading after the Grand Prix in Imola, but Pierre Gasly comfortably through in P6 for Pierre Gasly. On to Q3 with just Pierre. The final run of Q3, Pierre Gasly crosses the line. He's already done enough to secure P7. Pierre Gasly, it's been a cracking qualifying in Monaco. P7 for the Gasman. Leclerc is on pole for his home Grand Prix. Great performance from him, but Pierre Gasly P7, that is a stonking performance, and we've got a set of fresh tyres to use as well off the start, so I'm looking forward to this one. Let's get to the strategy screen. Right guys, so we are going to once again split the strategy, and Pierre Gasly, he's going to start on the soft compounded tyre in P7. Push as much as he can, try and get in the positions, and then stick with the front running cars. Esteban Ocon going to start on the medium. He's not quite as good on his tyres as Esteban, so we're going to get him on the mediums, and hopefully if there's a safety car that may play into his strategy a little bit. But P7, P12 could be a good one this. Let's get to 5 red lights for the Monaco Grand Prix.
The streets of Monte Carlo are ready as the drivers prepare for the 78 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix. Our attention shifts to Lewis Hamilton and what he can produce in this race.
They've done better than expected to be starting 5th. If they keep that up in the race, it'll be an impressive result.
So let's see what today has in store, shall we? It's time for one of the most exciting races in the world. This is the Monaco Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we see Charles Leclerc off pole position. He's got it covered up on the inside through Sandevort. Carlos Sainz manages to keep P2 just about. Checo Perez sitting in behind him now. Pierre Gasly losing a position off the start. Not ideal at all for Pierre. But he is battling with the Williams and the Mercedes of Russell and Stroll. Ocon a little bit further back. If we just ride on board with Pierre Gasly, it wasn't the best of starts from him, but he's on that soft compound tyre. Let's have a little look at the guys in front of him. We've got Hamilton on the softs as well. We're on new softs, and Alonso's on the hard. Of course, Fernando going long. And then the rest of the cars mainly on medium. So it's interesting. Gasly's the odd one out here. He's going to have to make this strategy work. It's going to be a very interesting one. He's already nearly lost a second to Lance Stroll at the start of this Grand Prix. Worrying times at the start of this Grand Prix, but not for Charles Leclerc, who is getting through this first lap unscathed. Of course, there is always a chance of safety cars with how tight it is through here. But on lap 1, it's Leclerc from Sainz, then comes Perez, Verstappen, Hamilton 1.1 seconds behind on the soft compound, Alonso in P6, Stroll P7, Gasly P8, Albon P9, Russell P10, Ocon down in P12. And the man at the back, because we don't tend to look at the back a lot, but Zhou Guanyu not having the best of seasons at this moment in time. Lap 10, to say this Grand Prix lacking overtakes is a understatement. Charles Leclerc 3 seconds leading the way from Carlos Sainz, Perez a further 2 seconds back. It's just a procession around Monaco. Verstappen 1.3 seconds back from him. No one's really keeping within DRS, which is very, very interesting. Gasly has lost 4 seconds to Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin, and Gasly is on the quicker tyre. Very, very interesting at this moment in time. We are actually thinking of telling Gasly to just keep the tyres as fresh as he possibly can and then switch onto the hards when the rest of them does, so he doesn't lose position. Something that we are keeping in mind at this moment in time. Ocon is down in P12. He's looking at the back of Norris, doing his absolute utmost. But yeah, considerations at the moment to see how long we could stretch this soft compound tyre. Lap 11. He joined us back on lap 20, and I'm sorry to say, I don't think anyone has actually changed positions at this moment in time. Charles Leclerc is still leading. 3.4 seconds is the gap between him and Carlos Sainz. Checo Perez in P3, Verstappen P4, Hamilton P5. Hamilton's the one we're looking at. We're going to pit with the medium compound runners. We're saving the tyres. They are lasting particularly well, and Hamilton is in straight away. This could cost him massively here. Let's just have a little look. We're going to speed this on a little bit, but one thing we do want to note is where he actually ends up here, because Lewis Hamilton coming out of the pit lane, where's Pierre Gasly? Coming down the start-finish straight, so Pierre Gasly, he's going to jump Hamilton, as is Alexander Albon, as is Russell. Hamilton, Norris is not going to, and neither is Esteban Ocon. But Hamilton now out into P10. He's going to gain when these guys make the pit stops. But it didn't seem at any point at all to do that with us. Gasly may as well stick with the medium compound runners because we're pretty happy with P7. If we could get P7 today, I would be absolutely delighted with that with Pierre Gasly. Ocon, a little bit more work to do. We may have a look, see if there's an opportunity to get him out into clean air. But Esteban Ocon doing okay at the moment. Leclerc, though, still leading. And it's just been a lovely drive around Monaco for these drivers. Not too much battling at all. We may have got this horribly wrong or horribly right. We have been spooked into pitting Pierre Gasly because I'm concerned about the undercut. Albon's coming this lap. I'm concerned about the undercut. I wanted to make sure that we got out in front of Albon. It's not a bad stop time, but have we managed to get out in front of Alexander Albon? Alexander Albon coming around the final corner. I think we've managed to escape that. Gasly coming out. And we are out in front of Alexander Albon. I wanted to make sure we kept that gap. And now Pierre Gasly will come out in front of Albon. And we've kept that position. So that was the most important thing for us. Didn't want to jeopardise that position for Pierre Gasly. We are going to go light on the tyres now. And just take us time. We don't reckon that Alexander Albon's going to be able to get past us. I really don't reckon he's going to be able to do it. I'd be amazed, in fact, if he does. So we'll just go standard for the time being. But we are on the hards all the way now to the end with Pierre. Esteban Ocon is going to carry on running his race, but we just got a little bit spooked into that. And Max Verstappen is having a shocker of a pit stop here. And that looks like a problem for the Red Bull guys. Let's have a look at what that's going to do to Max Verstappen. Onto the hard compounded tyre. We got the hold on the live camera. Alexander Albon trying to attack Pierre Gasly. He stops out, but Max Verstappen losing a lot of time there. And Lewis Hamilton's not quite going to catch him, but he's going to come out into P6. Ocon yet to pit. And Alexander Albon has managed to overtake Pierre Gasly with the DRS. Very disappointing from Pierre Gasly. And there's not much, to be fair, that he could do about it. Alexander Albon, great move from him, but we lose a position to Alexander Albon. Very, very disappointing for Pierre. Esteban now 5.8 seconds gap to Russell. His tyres are holding on well, are Esteban Ocon's, but we will be switching to the hard compound tyre. He's just on the one stop at this moment in time. We do have a safety car on circuit. Nico Hülkenberg is the man that's caused it into Casino Square. Just clashes that inside barrier. They can't get that car to safety, and Nico Hülkenberg has caused the safety car. Esteban Ocon straight away has been told, get yourself into the pit lane. It's a godsend for Pierre Gasly. What it's not good for is a couple of other cars on the circuit. Max Verstappen won't be happy with that at all. Sergio Perez will be absolutely delighted, as will Well, no, Charles Leclerc's already pit, so Perez is the big winner from this, but Esteban Ocon into the pit lane. Let's see where he rejoins, because this is going to be particularly interesting. It's possibly just saved Gasly's race as well, but let's have a look at what happens here. Esteban Ocon into the pits. Doesn't get held, 2.6 seconds, he's out. Gasly is back up into P9. He's going to have Alexander Albon to chase down as well. If Checo Perez doesn't pit, I would be absolutely stunned. And Lance Stroll as well. Let's just make sure that Lance Stroll does pit. Ocon is back up with Russell. Russell's gone onto the medium compounder tyre. Very, very interesting choice from George Russell. Does that mean they're going for another pit stop towards the end? Checo Perez into the pits. Let's see where he comes out. It's a decent stop from that side of the Red Bull garage. And we'll see, will he come out in front of his teammate Max Verstappen? He should do by a distance. And I reckon he's going to come out in front of Carlos Sainz as well, is he? No, Carlos Sainz is away. Alonso is into the pit, as is Lance Stroll, as we expected. Aston Martin are double stacking here. So let's just keep an eye on this. Alonso into the pit. It's going to have to be a very smooth pit stop. He's onto the medium compounder tyres, Fernando Alonso. Lance Stroll. It's a beautiful bit of work by Aston Martin. That lovely for them two guys. Pierre Gasly is a mile back now, but both the Aston Martins onto the medium compound. Will they go to the end, or will those guys be stopping again? This could be very, very interesting towards the end. We'll come back when we're back to green flag running. And at lap 37, we are back to green flag running, and as we can see, Charles Leclerc leads us away on the hard compound tyre from Carlos Sainz, who's also on the hard. Then comes Perez and Verstappen on the hard compound tyres. Hamilton and Alonso chose to go for the mediums. Will those mediums last towards the end of the Grand Prix? Our guys still a little bit concerned about tyre wear, just making sure the tyres are going to be okay. P9 for Pierre Gasly wouldn't be the end of the world here, especially when Albon's tyres die off towards the end, and we've got a lot of fuel now to use up as well. So Pierre Gasly really just wants to be staying with Alexander Albon if he possibly can. That would be the ideal as we ride on board with Pierre Gasly. We are just going to tell him just to deploy a little bit on the fuel. On the ERS, just to try and get back in the DRS of Albon, because I do reckon PA is on for Pierre today if he books his ideas up. Norris is on worn hard tyres as well, so Norris should get to the end but may have to pit again. Russell on the mediums and Ocon in P12. Ocon may not score points today, but we're going to have to monitor it all effectively. But Charles Leclerc got the pace driving around his home city, doing very, very well. Lap 38. Lap 41. Pierre Gasly's caught between a rock and a hard place. Oh, Alexander Albon and George Russell, because he's having to defend against George Russell, which he's been told to do aggressively. Always make sure he defends and just stay in touch with Alexander Albon, because that DRS will help when available. So Pierre Gasly got a lot of work to do here. Esteban Ocon doing okay as well in P12, but doesn't look like he's going to score points today. Lap 41. You join us back on lap 50. Lewis Hamilton has pit again. He's now onto fresh medium compound tyres. He's got Alexander Albon to chase down, but Pierre Gasly has just lost position to George Russell. And yeah, I can understand why he's swearing on the radio, because there's a bit of swearing going on the pit wall as well. He's not managed to defend it, and Pierre Gasly, for whatever reason, all the pace from qualifying has meant that he's not had the pace today in the race, and it's been very, very disappointing. He may be under threat from his teammate if he carries on in the way that he is doing. Meanwhile, Esteban Ocon on the back of Lando Norris, being told to overtake when possible. As things stand, we may give team orders to let Esteban Ocon past. At the front, Charles Leclerc's got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix and leads away from Carlos Sainz, who's just about staying in touching distance, but the Red Bulls are a little bit further back from him. Alonso and Stroll in P5 and 6. Then comes Albon, Hamilton, Russell, Gasly, Norris and Ocon. Nico Hülkenberg, the only retirement from this race. Lap 54. Oh my goodness, Charles Leclerc. He's just pit from the lead of the Grand Prix. I thought he was going to the end. I didn't think there was any doubt about it. But Charles Leclerc has pit and now he's in P6. Carlos Sainz, his teammate, on 62% hards, is leading the Grand Prix. Very, very interesting here. Will a few more cars pit in front of a Norris's pit? So Ocon now up into net P11. There's a few cars pitting again. We reckon that we can just keep doing this. We will stay on to the end. We've saved the tyres effectively. We will be okay to the end. But Pierre Gasly is being told to just harvest a little bit, but then get after George Russell. I would imagine George Russell will be coming in once again. Lap 54, it's 10th and 11th for our guys, but who knows what pit stops are to come.
like to swap the cars around.
Team orders. Pierre Gasly has been told to let Esteban Ocon pass for a couple of reasons. Esteban Ocon's got the better tyres at this moment in time. He's the quicker car. So hopefully Pierre Gasly can just stay on the back of him and use the DRS of Esteban Ocon and just ensure that he can just make these tyres last. But at the moment, I mean, look at that. 9/10 of a second already. He's losing from his teammate, so something to bear in mind there. Gasly has got to keep up with Esteban Ocon here, and this will hopefully pull us up to the back of George Russell, whose tyres have got to be dying off now on those medium compounded tyre. And already Pierre Gasly has lost the DRS of Esteban Ocon. What is all that about, and where has the pace gone from Saturday afternoon, lap 56? And on lap 56, as we expected, George Russell has pit once again. Russell is going to come out of the pit lane. He's going to have a good 22 laps to catch back up to Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly, but we are going to be defending for our lives when he gets there. In fact, we're going to tell Esteban Ocon to push on now and try and maintain the gap. But lap 56, a long way to go. Lap 62, Alexander Albon, who's pit once again, and he's on to the soft compound tyres, has overtaken Pierre Gasly. So he was going for a two-stop all the way along. We got spooked by Williams. Not good news for us. Alexander Albon is past Pierre Gasly, and he will be closing on Esteban Ocon at a rate of knots, as will George Russell. But it's just about the countdown now. Can we manage to stay in 2 point Spain positions? It would be absolutely ideal if we could, but Pierre Gasly, who's been topping up that ERS, is now going to be told to go to neutral. But we are struggling a little bit with the tyres as well. We've got 16 laps to go. Carlos Sainz leads the Grand Prix. Will he stay out till the very end? Who knows? And Alexander Albon is absolutely flying in that Williams once again with the DRS around the outside this time of Sandoval. Alexander Albon brakes later. He's got the traction and he got the job done beautifully on the run up to Casino Square. Fantastic work from Alexander Albon. It's P9 and P10. If we got this towards the end of the Grand Prix, I would be delighted. 15 to go. And with 11 laps to go, very important for Pierre Gasly to defend against George Russell. George Russell's tyres are starting to die off a little bit, the softs, but they're in a lot better nick than Pierre Gasly's. And this is not just important for Pierre, it's important for Esteban, because the more he can hold up George Russell, the better chance we've got of Esteban scoring decent points today. But as you can see, coming out of the final corner as we ride on board with George Russell, look how close he is to the back of this Alpine car. Can we defend here? Esteban Ocon further up the road, but Pierre Gasly looking to try and defend. Is he going to manage to? He defends it well down there, and he's not going to get past him for the rest of this lap. Pierre Gasly doing a stonking job once again of defending from George Russell, who's still looking left and right. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz at the front looks like he's going to be staying out all the way to the end. Very wise decision for Carlos Sainz. Charles Leclerc, though, is on a mission at the moment on the soft compounder tyre. Will he catch his teammate? It is possible. It's going to be a real Hollywood finish here in Monaco. And the one thing we didn't want to happen was this. And Pierre Gasly, I thought had got the measure of him. I thought he got it done. But somehow George Russell managed to get it up the inside into Sandoval, up into the point Spain positions. Disappointing for Pierre Gasly, but Pierre Gasly now has got to look to push on and try and keep on the back of that Mercedes, even is the word I'm looking for. But already 1.7 seconds is 1.1 seconds is the gap. George Russell looks like he's away, but what he has done is secure his teammate a point Spain position here this afternoon. Pierre Gasly, he's going to be disappointed not to score any points. I'm disappointed with him not to score any points, but Esteban Ocon doing rather well at this moment in time. I'm currently in P9. And it goes from bad to worse for Pierre. Yuki Tsunoda now getting past him into Casino Square. Very disappointing for Pierre Gasly. Maybe we've got the strategy wrong. We've got to take some responsibility for this on the pit wall. We got spooked. We didn't follow through with the two-stop. And we are paying for it big time with Pierre Gasly at this moment in time. Meanwhile, Esteban Ocon still in P9, but Pierre Gasly, our hearts go out to him at this moment. Lap 75, 3 to go. Final lap of the Grand Prix, and we can see Carlos Sainz is coming round the final corner, and Carlos Sainz is going to win in Monaco. What a drive from him. Charles Leclerc is going to be spitting feathers at this. But Carlos Sainz, great win for him. Verstappen in P2, Perez P3, Leclerc P4. Leclerc could have won this today. Alonso is in P5. We've seen that live, so we're not going to go back to it. Gasly's finished, but Esteban Ocon, he's going to come across the line and finish in P9. It's been a different day for us here at Alpine. If we just fast forward this forward a little bit and get Esteban Ocon towards the end here. But Esteban Ocon, P9, he'll take the points. But it's been a disappointing day for Pierre Gasly after promised so much on Saturday. Not quite what we wanted. But there we go, Esteban Ocon getting a couple more points for the team, beating George Russell again. And George Russell is not performing for Mercedes. Let's get to the podium celebrations. And I wonder if we're going to get a camera shot of a very disappointed Charles Leclerc.
Hard to imagine how things could have got much worse for Gasly today.
Well, I think most people expected them to really deliver here, but it's a disappointing finish outside the points.
And Carlos Sainz heading up to the podium now, the Spaniard adding another to his record.
What an excellent way to take a second win of the season with a composed performance today.
Always a special occasion here in the incomparable Monte Carlo.
And so there we have it. Carlos Sainz spraying the champagne, and I'm sure he will be spraying the champagne in the Monaco casino tonight as well. So as we saw, Carlos Sainz winning, Verstappen second, Perez third, Esteban in P9 as we saw. Alonso P5 did very, very well. But Yuki Tsunoda, probably driver of the day, gaining 7 positions there. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen is leading the driver standings, but his lead is cut by Carlos Sainz now. 30 points is the gap between the Red Bull and the Ferrari driver. Charles Leclerc drops a position, as does Checo Perez. Esteban Ocon stays in P9, has scored 3 more points than Pierre Gasly now this season. Constructor standings wise, Red Bull are still leading the way. We've got, what's that now? 28 points is the gap between Red Bull and Ferrari in second. Aston Martin in P3. We stay in P5, but Williams close the gap on us a little bit by jumping up to 6th position. And it must be said that Williams looked very, very quick today. I hope you've enjoyed that. The Monaco Grand Prix can be a bit of a procession, but the safety car did cause a little bit of panic. And I've got to say, Williams definitely got one over on us on the strategy wall as well. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra!